Yo, Daily Fire, episode 36. If it's trash, turn it off. But if it has value, please share it out for me. Brought to you by maxeffortmuscle.com. For all your supplement needs, go to maxeffortmuscle.com. Check out this amino coffee. And it's brought to you by the Business and Biceps Network. All right, episode 36, Why So Extreme? A long time ago, I realized something, right? No matter whether it was one of my first loves of sports, basketball or baseball, weightlifting, or just like people that kind of expected the norm would get a normal result. And then fast forward years later, I started reading, kind of the powerlifting teachings of Louis Simmons, and he said something that just made so much sense to me. He's like, regular people get me regular results with regular output. Like extreme people or crazy motherfuckers give me crazy results. And he was talking about in terms of strength. So I started thinking to myself, if I do what everyone else does, I'm going to get the result that everyone else gets. So why not, as I in my own science project and I'm testing things and I'm trying things, why not always think of the extreme version of this? And here's a good example. When I was lunging and it was difficult and I'd be going up and back in the gym with 135 or 225 on my back, that was the first kind of indicator that, man, this is kind of tough. What if I do this for a longer distance? And I didn't do this, for a period of time, meaning I didn't really come upon the 400 and 800 meter lunges till later in my career, but it was that thought process of no one else is doing this. Let me try a lap. Let me try 2 laps. Let me try 3 laps. Let me try a mile. I did a mile 4 days in a row one time. I did a mile with a 40-pound vest. I did 3/4 of a mile with an 80-pound vest. I was testing the limits. And then the baseline. So this is kind of my thought process. Why am I so extreme? I pushed it to where I really had a hard time recovering from it. But then what was the baseline? 400 meters all day. The baseline, 800 meters all day, every day. Streaks of 200, 300 days, 100 days, 150 days. What is the baseline? Why so extreme? Well, that's kind of a relative term. What is your expectation of your baseline of fitness or business or the way that you operate? That's what I started to push the limits on. And then I started to see whether it was in my body, whether it was my strength, the way I looked, the way my business operated, the way I operated. As I started to push in more extreme fashion, then I started getting a more extreme result. So I started to think to myself, I would, kind of have the self-talk of the norm back and forth, this is what I see normal people doing, or essentially people that are getting this type of result. And if I want a more extreme result, I probably need to do X. And not only do X, I need to do X for this consistent period of time, whatever I deem that, my mission is at that time, whether it's conditioning, strength, business, whatever it is. So I've always thought in this kind of mind frame, but then when I started to understand it even more, if I think about something, I go straight to the extreme first, which I know sounds crazy. A lot of people build up to that. That doesn't mean I go and do that right this second. I'm just saying that's where my brain and my process goes first. So it's all right, if I'm going to do this, well, what's the craziest version of it? And then what's a version of this that I could maintain for a while? What should I try? What should I push? And so I'm always pushing my mind to that extreme angle. And I don't know if I was born this way. I don't know if I learned it. I just know when I heard Louis say that, it made all the sense. And I kind of operated like that anyway. And so every time I embark on something, and I'm going to challenge you guys to do this, think about what's the baseline of the norm? What am I going to attempt? And then what is pushing, the limit? And then where from that do I fall into a category of how I can operate at a consistent level that's above the norm so I can get a, unnormal result for my goals, whether it's get bigger biceps, get a stronger back squat. Once again, I didn't like the, kind of the results from a back squatting standpoint. I'd studied all the different stuff. Fuck it, squat every day. 2 years later, hit all my goals. It was extreme. Guess what? It made a huge difference in my career because it separated me. Because people were like, all right, this fitness model looking dude is squatting every day and now squatted 540 at 181, drug free, raw, and in his later 30s. Like, there were some things that came from that made me a stronger human, made me understand how to push, maybe understand what I'm capable of. And so we have extreme people like David Goggins out there, which people aspire to be like, and they watch them and they draw, motivation from it. And that dude takes it to like where he almost died. He exercised so crazy. People don't even like conceptualize what that is. So I'm not saying you got to be like that. I'm just saying try to have just a little bit more extreme personal expectation of what you are going to kind of embark on. So whatever you do, whatever your craft is, whatever, you're pushing yourself physically, mentally, think like, what happens if I would do this? And do it for a few days. Test yourself. Like you are your best science project. I'm telling you. So have I tried extreme things that have not worked? Yes. But did I learn a ton and then try a second version of that maybe worked a little better? Of course. And then maybe the third try, I found right in that area where it worked real well. And here's a great example. You know how many motherfuckers are lunging right now as they're conditioning? As they're like, instead of cardio, people that used to run 3 miles that weren't getting the results that they wanted, now lunge 400 or 800 meters and look way different. They're way stronger. They're way more locked in. It's like its own kind of like cardio conditioning type of move now. These people aren't then doing other cardio on top of it. I don't then go do the stepper. I don't then go run 2 miles. I lunge. And I made it mine because I tested it at extremes. I pulled it down to something that could be consistent. I wrapped it up in something that can make you better and have more commitment. And it's just like something over 7 years of trial and error has become something really unique. And that is a great example of taking something to an extreme, pulling it down. But when it can be consistently done, the results are unbelievable. So why not apply those same type of things in life? Same thing with my studies. I like to get like 2 hours a day in from reading, from audiobooks, from learning, trying to push myself. And I know like if I get X, then it's going to be, exponential, that I'm just going to get better, sharper, more confident. And it's like, yeah, I push for an extreme couple hours, but even if I get 15 minutes every day, I'm still better than I was. So look at the extreme version, test yourself out no matter what it is, push to get a result that's not normal. That is my main message. Push to get a result that's not normal. Daily Fire episode 36. Why so extreme? Brought to you by maxeffortmuscle.com. And you are listening to the Business and Biceps Network. Share it out for me. Peace.